Hello everybody, Road Warrior 627 back here with another big preview for a series of big races, of course. This is the 2017 Breeders' Cup. Del Mar, I don't know why they're letting Del Mar host the Breeders' Cup. Makes no sense to me. They can't even run some of the races at their normal distance. That's pretty sad. I don't understand why they're going that route, but they are, and that's what we're going to have to deal with for these 2 days. I'm recording this on Wednesday, November 2nd. We've got Friday, November 3rd, and Saturday, November 4th for the Breeders' Cup. 4 races on Friday, 9 races on Saturday. Let's begin. I'm going to give you my picks. I'm going to go through very quick analysis, not much in depth. There are plenty of other analyses that are available on the web. These are just my quick opinions that I'll be using in these 13 races altogether. So on Friday, we begin at 5:25 Eastern Daylight Time with race number 6, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. A race that should probably not even be a Breeders' Cup race because there are too many Breeders' Cup races, and these are not all Breeders' Cup horses. Nonetheless, it's a very good betting race, and I'm going to take the 8 Significant Form for Chad Brown. Last year, I started off the Breeders' Cup by picking a Chad Brown horse. His name, Oscar Performance. Oscar Performance is running again, this time on Saturday. So I'm going to go with the Chad angle once again. Be following that up with Best Performance for Christophe Clement coming in second. Then we've got September for Aiden O'Brien. If Aiden O'Brien doesn't walk out of this Breeders' Cup with at least one win, I will be totally shocked. And lastly, the morning line favorite, Rushing Fall, I have coming in fourth for Castellano and Brown. Now, the reason I'm taking the 8 over the 11 is because last time he got the jump on his stablemate. She got the jump on her stablemate, I should say. So, in a race that's going to wind up being a mile and a 16th, around, or just a mile actually, around tight turns, I'll take the speed in this race. Let's move on. Race number 7, the Dirt Mile. This is one race where I just couldn't come up with anything else. More Spirit. I'm not even going to bet this race. These are just really predictions. Practical Joke. I like that he's running a mile. I do not like that he's running around 2 turns. Much more favors 1 turn like at Aqueduct at Belmont. Sharp as Tech has been good all year for the Monmouth native Jorge Navarro. And then lastly, we'll wrap it up with Accelerate, who managed to win the San Diego earlier this year, beating Arrogate in that very shocking defeat of his. So 6-10, 3-8 in race number 7, the Dirt Mile. Moving on to the 8th race, also another great betting race, the Juvenile Turf. These, finally now, are the male horses, as I thought they were before. We're going to take Velasquez and Ward. Neck away from being 3 for 3. Good effort at Belmont, especially in his debut when he won by 4 lengths. So we're going to take Hemp Hooray, Velasquez and Ward. For second, Untamed Domain, Graham Motion. Jose could get him to rally late. Hoping so. Third, we've got Mendelssohn, I believe. Another Aiden O'Brien horse, half-brother to be older. Good efforts over in Europe. And then lastly, wrapping it up, we've got the 8 horse for Chad Brown voting control. The Castellano-Brown combination has always been good, will always be good. The horse needs to improve, though, but good connections to do that with. And we're going to wrap up Friday with the Breeders' Cup Distaff. A small field, but a select field. An excellent field. The horse I'm going to choose was third last year, made a great effort, was probably the second best horse in the race behind Beholder, and that would be Forever Unbridled. Velasquez picks up the mount for Dallas Stewart's true mile and an eighth horse, loves the distance. A late, much developed horse, especially throughout the later part of the year, winning the Alabama, was very impressive. Abel Tasman, enough talent to get third, has kind of fallen off her form since earlier this year when she was winning everything, the Kentucky Oaks and the Acorn on Belmont Day. And lastly, Stellar Win. She's the favorite, morning line favorite for Espinoza and Sadler, but definitely vulnerable. There is a lot of talent in this field, and when there's all kinds of talent, I take a longer price, and that's what I'm doing with Forever Unbridled. So that wraps up Friday's 4 races. The first post, once again, for Friday's Breeders' Cup races is 5:25 Eastern Daylight Time. That is 2:25 Pacific if you're over at Del Mar. And actually, the races start at 2:25 Eastern or 11:25 Pacific. That's for Friday. Saturday is a whole different story. It is the mega day. It is the huge day. And first post is at 10:10 in the morning if you're on the West Coast. Or if you're like me over here, it's 1:10 in the afternoon on the East Coast. The first Breeders' Cup race is the 4th race, the traditional leadoff Breeders' Cup race, the Juvenile Fillies. Julian Leparoux and Mark Cassie, I'll try and get them home with Heavenly Love. Good connections, one with Classic Empire, so I expect them to put forth a good effort. 9-2 is a fairly good price for a horse that seems to have a lot of talent. Moonshine Memories is actually going to be a single for most people. The 7-horse Flavian Pratt, excellent young rider, high class, although once again I'm trying to beat the favorite. Then Alluring Star, Bob Baffert. Baffert's always good with young horses. And lastly, we'll wrap it up with Stainless, a long shot for John Velazquez and Todd Pletcher. Since when do you see a 2-year-old for Todd Pletcher and John Velazquez in a Grade 1 race be 20-1? I will bring that point up again later during the preview. Let's just say 1796 in the Juvenile Fillies. Race number 5, Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint Disco Partner. No doubt about it. I knew I was picking this horse from the minute he won the Jaipur on Belmont Stakes Day. That was the most impressive performance I've ever seen live by any thoroughbred. I was there. He accelerated like a superhero. Consistently awesome. I expect him to come to form once again. Stormy Liberal, kind of a funky horse. Nice price for Rosario and Peter Miller. I'll put him second. The 12 I'll put third. Pure Sensation, stablemate to Disco Partner. Pure Sensation actually won the Jaipur the year before Disco Partner, last year, 2016. And we'll wrap it up with the 3-horse Lady Aurelia, who will probably be the favorite, making her long-awaited Breeders' Cup debut for Velazquez and Ward. Definitely good connections on the turf all the time. Race number 6 is the Filly and Mayor Sprint. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to go with By the Moon. I've seen her run great in New York. Michelle Nevin's an excellent trainer over here, and she deserves to win a race like this. And By the Moon certainly has the talent in a field of horses that are sometimes a little inconsistent. So I'm willing to take a shot with her. Karina Mia has definitely regressed from her early 3-year-old form. I expect her to come with something. I also got another Chad Brown horse in there, Paula Silver Lining with Ortiz coming in for third. And of course, we can't go without mentioning Unique Bella, who will probably be the favorite and definitely has the best chance of anybody to win this race with a good 11 post position. Mike Smith and Hollendorfer have a good one on their hands. Once again, just trying to beat the favorite. Race number 7, Filly and Mayor Turf. Go with War Flag, who dug me out of a giant hole on October 8th at Belmont. I was there, and I was down almost $50, and War Flag pulled it out. It was an outstanding performance. She dug in deep. It was one of the best performances I've ever seen. Not like Disco Partner, but it was certainly exhilarating. So I'm going to take a shot. Shug McGahee. What else could you say about this guy? Always excellent. But of course, there's a queen in this field, and her name is Lady Eli. I'm just going to try and take a shot against her. But I would love for nothing more than for her to win this race and end her remarkable career. A career and a life that almost ended. She is certainly a remarkable filly, and I wish nothing but the best for her. I would love to lose to that horse, but for betting purposes, I'll go against her. Decida, another good Chad Brown horse that runs well. I have third, and then Grand Jeté, who ran in that Flower Bowl not all that well, according to her previous form, but she could step it up again. Chad knows how to do that. The Breeders' Cup Sprint. Fastest race of the year, at least as far as the competition, usually, not realistically, of course. Dreyfon. I've got no other ideas. This horse won once again at Saratoga with excellent ease. I've got no other ideas. Dreyfon on top. Mind Your Biscuits. Obviously won in Dubai. A great New York bred. A great story. Have him coming in for second. Karen McLaughlin's got a nice one in Tacklefull. Jose Ortiz gets the mount. I have him third. And the old boy Whitmore I've got going fourth. We'll see if Manny Franco can do anything with his mount. Now we move on. We move on to the Breeders' Cup Mile, a race that has a lot of times over the years been won by fillies. I will not be choosing a filly in this race. I will be choosing Billy Matt's Balarax. Won the poker with a very good effort earlier this year. Roly Poly for Aidan O'Brien. That is your filly in the field. She's excellent. I expect her to run well. 6-1's not a bad price for her either. And then I've got the 5 World Approval. Also run great this year. Ran well in the 4-Star Dave, which he won. And then a Heart to Heart. Nice one for Brian Lynch. Brian Lynch been doing extremely well on the turf this year. The Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Another race with a big favorite that I will try and beat. I'm going to go out on the limb. Remember when I said, watch for another 20-1 shot with Velasquez and Pletcher? I will go with Has It. The number 9 horse Has It. Won the maiden race with a very good trip and was nowhere to be found last time. I expect her to rebound and at least run better than her odds would suggest. Bolt Doro, though, is the talent of the field, who I have second. Expect him to win. I'm just taking a shot. Ferenz Fire, Jason Service, Irad Ortiz, and U.S. Navy flag for Aidan O'Brien, who was going to possibly run in the juvenile turf, but he decided to stick him in the juvenile instead, maybe thinking that the dirt might be a better surface for him. Expect him to run well as well. Now the Breeders' Cup Turf, the penultimate Breeders' Cup race. We're going with the 12-horse Beach Patrol. I love Beach Patrol. I've always loved Beach Patrol. I picked them in races time and time again. Very consistent. Reminds me a lot of Big Blue Kitten, actually. Now, Beach Patrol won the Joe Hurst Turf Classic very well earlier this year. And another horse who ran a very good race, except much longer ago, was Highland Reel, who won this race in one of the weirdest fashions of all time last time. He won by opening up an 8th-length lead on the backstretch with Flincher crying out from second, and he held the lead all the way through the stretch. It was very impressive. We'll take him on a very similar Del Mar turf course to Santa Anita. We'll put him second. Oscar Performance is the speed of the race. He's going to be going to the front. He's been able to go wire to wire and slow the pace down. He's got the best competition he's ever faced in this race. Do not expect him to win, but do expect him to hold on fairly well. So I will put him third. And then finally, we'll go with Ulysses, the morning line favorite, with the old man Frankie Dettori coming in fourth. And that, of course, leaves us with the Breeders' Cup Classic. The 12th race, post time is 8:35 on the East Coast, 5:35 on the West Coast. And what can we say? Except the rivalry that we might see develop here between Arrogate and Gunrunner. Now, granted, they haven't run against each other that much, but these are definitely the two top guns. So when you have two short-priced horses that are probably going to win, what do? I pick neither of them, and I pick Bob Baffert's, or one of Bob Baffert's longer shots, West Coast. Developing 3-year-old, has a big winning streak going into this. Won the Easy Goer, the Los Alamitos Derby, won the Travers in an excellent front-running performance, and absolutely dominated the Pennsylvania Derby. Now he's going to have to beat Olders, but he can do it. And if Arrogate is truly not what we think he is, and if Gunrunner just doesn't like 1.25 miles, he's been running 1.1 1/8 more this year, of course, with the races at Saratoga, that could be trouble. And it could allow West Coast, who's already proven he could excel at 1.25 miles, to win. So I will take one of the longer Bob Baffert horses, West Coast, on top. I will say, and for a lot of the year, I just suspected that those two races that he lost to San Diego in the P Classic with Arrogate, that Bob Baffert was fixing the races in order for his longer priced horse to come ahead. But I do see that he has lost some ability. At least some of the ability he showed earlier this year. I don't know why he waited 4 months to run him in between the Dubai World Cup and the San Diego. It made absolutely no sense. You can't keep a horse that good on the sideline that long. The horse has to run. So, being that, I will put Gunrunner on top of Arrogate for second. Gunrunner's obviously showed no weaknesses this year. He's run excellent in all his races, especially up at Saratoga. And closing it out in fourth, we've got collected the other Baffert horse, who is 6-1 as well. So I've got Baffert running 1, 3, 4 in the Classic. And if Gunrunner doesn't show up, Muktahish. Maybe Baffert can run 1, 2, 3, 4 in any order. Who knows? Stranger things have happened. It's horse racing. 8-5, 111 in the 2017, the 34th Breeders' Cup Classic. So that is it, everybody. Just a quick rundown. Didn't want to get too far into the analysis. If you want to look about more about these races, I suggest going to drf.com. David Grenning's been doing excellent reporting, so I suggest going there. And you can find all the Breeders' Cup races on NBCSN, and then the Classic on NBC primetime, 8 o'clock on Saturday. Or, if you're like me, I'll probably just be watching the Del Mar feed, because they just like simple stuff. I don't want the whole celebrity and whatnot carried away. I'd rather just stick to the horses. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed my preview. I hope you enjoyed the Breeders' Cup. And remember, pay your bills first. And have a good day.